you've worked in that Southern District. Is there anything that he could do here today in this venue that would improve his posture as far as his penalty is concerned?
So, yes, is the short answer, but it's a little complicated, a little more complicated than it would be for a person normally trying to seek a lighter sentence. First of all, he has sort of a carrot and a stick here to incentive to tell the truth. The stick is with Robert Mueller's office because he is under a cooperation agreement with them. If he says anything here that is untruthful, that the special counsel's office would certainly know, right? I mean, they have more evidence than Cohen does, and they have more evidence than we do. If they figure out that he is lying in some way, determine that, they can rip up his agreement that he's entered with them, and he then is susceptible to being prosecuted for crimes that he got immunity for in that agreement. So he'd be subject to possible more jail time, in addition to possible charges, obviously, for perjury for lying here. That's the stick. The carrot, as far as the Southern District of New York, Cohen said something here today that I think confirms what, has sort of been out there as speculation, that it seems like he's continuing to work directly with the Southern District of New York. So I think he is trying to get what's called a Rule 35, a post-sentence reduction. In order to do that, he will have to provide actual assistance to the Southern District of New York in their investigations. But if he does that and they then write a letter to the judge saying, OK, he's provided assistance to us, now he could get should get a reduction in his sentence. The fact that he's also testified truthfully in front of Congress will also go into that letter. And it's certainly something the judge will consider because they look at the person as a whole. So standing alone, this testimony won't get him a reduction, but his incentive to tell the truth here is huge because it will also allow that to go into a letter if the Southern District ends up writing one, and I think would be very important in a judge's consideration of whether his sentence should be reduced.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.